All right, everyone. So this week, what we're going to look into is a common question that we hear all the time from athletes, and that's how to warm up for weightlifting. Now, when you ask this to a seasoned weightlifter, you might get an interesting answer, a look, because they'll probably say you just warm up with the bar. But when athletes don't go through weightlifting, they're often not aware of this, looking to, I don't know, run a mile, which you don't do in this. But let's dig into it deeper in 3 big steps. What's a common warm-up? How can you build your own warm-up, and some big mistakes that keep weight off your bar. All right, guys, when we talk about a common warm-up, what I'm speaking to is to a weightlifter, not to a fitness enthusiast, not to a CrossFitter, not to a athlete in track or football. I'm talking to a weightlifter when I say common warm-up. And things you're going to see is going through movements with a barbell that mimic the lifts that are about to happen. So if you're about to do a full training day of, say, snatch and clean and jerk, then you're probably going to warm up with some variation of taking the bar through movements for the snatch, so your grip will be wider. You may press up behind your neck a couple times, just up into a snatch position overhead. You may do an overhead squat. Shoot, before you even go, you might do some air squats. You're just going through and putting your body into positions. One thing you typically see is athletes placing the bar on their legs and moving their knees past their toes, stretching out their ankles, and doing all sorts of things that are specific to weightlifting. The other thing you'll see commonly is athletes adding in things specific to themselves. So if they have an issue with tight ankles, if they have an issue with tight hips, or an issue with a tight overhead position, then they're going to add in things specific to their issue. And we're going to talk about that next when we talk about how to design your own warm-up. So when we talk about designing your own warm-up, my first rule for brand new athletes is 1, do what makes you comfortable. The Olympic lifts are very mental, and if you don't feel warmed up, if you don't feel like you can get into a good position, then warm up a little longer. If you're a masters athlete, you may have to warm up a little longer. If you're coming back from an injury, by God, warm up a little longer. That's okay. But when you design your own warm-up, go through a variety of things and see how they make you feel over time. That's how we teach athletes to build their own warm-up. They might do, say, a snatch or clean, just deadlift with the bar. They might do a behind the neck press. They might do overhead squat or various other. There's many different exercises to choose from. There's the 3-way hip opener. There's a T-spine stretch over a med ball. There's tons of warm-ups you see out there, but the key here is to keep it specific to weightlifting. So we're not going to go run a mile. We're not going to row a ton. Now, I would offer rowing over running if you want to just get some blood flowing, but keep it short. Do, say, a minute. Right? And then after that minute, go ahead and get off and do a hip opener, and then get back on the rower and do a minute. And I'm talking just slow, steady pace, just warming up, getting a little bit of blood flowing. But that's, again, if you're used to doing something like that, that's what you can do. But when you look and say a world championship warm-up room, you're not going to see any rowers. So you're not going to see any rowers at big competitions. They warm up with the bar, and if you want to be competitive in weightlifting, you're going to have to learn how to warm up with a bar. All right, guys, and common mistakes that we often see that keep weight off athletes' bars are just doing too much, especially with the legs. Now, I mentioned running earlier in this video. If an athlete went out and really ran quite a bit, and their goal, their purpose is to try to increase their weights overall in weightlifting, they're holding themselves back. If you use a rower and truly you are rowing too much, you're holding yourself back. If it's a competition setting and you're taking triples and, you know, as you're warming up, just so many lifts, you're holding yourself back, right? Remember, guys, we do want to do what allows us to be comfortable, but we also have to train how to warm up around the lifts for the specific movements where we're not using too much energy and taxing our legs too much. I know you fitness fanatics out there are saying, hey, that's not going to tire me out, but look at it from a different perspective. If your goal is to lift one big heavy weight one time, that's what I'm speaking to. Now, this is not the warm-up for weightlifting and CrossFit. This is not the warm-up for CrossFit. Don't go do a WOD and then come over to weightlifting and say you're warmed up. You're not warmed up, you're blasted, you're exhausted. This is the warm-up for weightlifting. So please keep that in mind. I hope it helps, and I hope you're challenged to go out and add a couple of these things in each day and see what you like, see how it feels, and attack. If you found this video helpful, don't forget about our free programming. You can sign up with a link right below here. We go through and explain why we program what we program and show you many different tools to fix issues.